All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Purple Memoirs, the only Prince podcast hosted and produced by Chanhassen natives. Joining me today, we have a very, very special guest, Prince's house DJ, Mr. Michael Holtz. How you doing, Michael?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful. I'm glad you're here, man. I've seen you a couple times at the parties before, so it's almost like a homecoming. It's all coming together now, you know.
That's like what I said when I came out of the car. I'm like, hey, your face looks familiar. I think I've seen you at a couple of the events. So
yeah, I mean, I'm usually the first half of the shows. I'm not dancing much. A couple drinks later, I'll be doing the splits or trying to do them.
That was the crazy guy. That's right. Yes.
That's awesome. So so I guess the biggest thing is, how did you get started DJing?
That's a great question. In 96, I graduated from a small town in Midwest Minnesota called Painesville, Minnesota.
I've heard of it.
Well, yeah. Have you?
Yes, I have.
Lake
Heard
Coronis?
of it.
Is that because of the lake or?
I don't know, but I think I've driven through it.
Yes, and you probably drive through it because it's the only town where the major highways of Highway 23 and 55 intersect through it, so that's probably why. Going to Wilmer or
Wilmer, exactly.
St. Cloud, yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's it, yeah. So that's Painesville. So I went for when I graduated, I moved down to Minneapolis, went to Brown College for broadcast journalism, and when I was down here going to college, I got a job, a little side job on the weekend to DJ for weddings.
Okay,
and within that time too, I'm going out to Paisley Park,
of course,
and
Mecca,
the Mecca, exactly. So, and that's really kind of how I got in the game. I moved back out to Painesville, and it was like 98, 99. Worked in radio in Wilmer
So you were from there, came to the cities for a couple years, and then came back.
Yep, came back, worked in radio for about 2.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, radio, adult contemporary radio station called Q102 out in Wilmer.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so there were 100,000 watt radio station.
Wow.
And I worked the overnight shift.
Okay.
Yeah. And it really was a great shift because after I got off, and if you found out that there's a party at Paisley Park going on, well, it just, I was up all night anyway. So.
And they didn't even really start till 12 or 1 in the morning anyway.
No. So it worked perfect for me. The only times it didn't work perfect for me was when it would be like if I had to work like every other Saturday, do a noon shift.
Gotcha.
So, if you're getting out of Paisley Park at 6 a.m. in the morning.
It's so weird coming out of Paisley at that time and looking around. You expect to come out of Paisley at that time and hear the downtown Minneapolis city streets and the lights, but you come out and it's dead silent and you're in Chan. It's 6 in the morning. Yeah. It's just a trip.
It is. Well, and then, you got to, and back in that day too, it's like
cornfields,
right? Like I always told my friends, like if they were going to meet us out there or whatever, I'm like, well, if you're going down Highway 5 and you got to look for this big white building on the left. And if you don't see it, you're going to notice that you're in a cornfield. You know? So after that, there's nothing.
If you don't pass the castle, then you've gone too far.
Right. Awesome. And I remember like the very first time. So like the very first, like when I started going out to Paisley Park was the 94, 95 era. So I'm like, that 15, 16, as soon as I got my driver's license, I'm getting a couple buddies and we're driving down or whatever.
That's awesome.
And I'm like the first time, and that was when they started early when he had the part. I don't know if you remember those parties.
I've probably been since 2007 to now. Till about 2016. Okay. I've probably been to 5 or 6 parties.
Okay.
Most of the ones I went to, they stood outside in line, you got in, and then maybe only half of the parties he actually played.
Yeah.
But you could feel his aura. He was there.
Yeah, so I was one of the OGs. I guess you could say going out there, and because I remember one buddy and I, we were in high school. And my brother dropped us off because the party started at 8:00. Well, you actually got access to go in the front door, walk through everything, and it was so crazy because you're like, we're in Paisley, and there wasn't really anybody like there right away.
Interesting.
So they had like we're walking through, and some of the security guards say, "Oh, you got to go that way or this way," and so we were kind of like, it's almost again
the first couple people in the building.
Yeah, right. And it literally is like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and we're
totally
walking in,
is.
it's just our eyes are just wide open. We're like, what's going on, And then this was the time with the Gold Experience.
Oh yeah,
and that whole era
around 95, like you said, right?
Yeah, and so then we walk into the big stage area. Well, then he's got the big, gold, the whole stage set up and everything, and. There was pool tables, everything all around that you could do,
like a lounge kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
it was kind of very vibe-ish, and my friend and I because some of his dancers were like kind of walking around like, we swore that that's Carmen Electra. She came over and talked to us, what's that, Carmen Electra?
That was around the time. That was around the time she was at Paisley.
Yes,
hanging around.
exactly. Yeah,
yeah. You gave her that moniker, that name. A lot of people don't know that.
No, so we're like, oh my gosh, was that Carmen Electra? So we're playing pool, She's like, hey guys, how you doing? Oh, okay.
And then you remember you're at Paisley Park, so it probably was her.
Yeah, it probably was her. Exactly.
I love it.
We're hanging around, and then it got to be later. Then there was another room that you could go into, and I think it was actually the storage room. It became the storage room or whatnot. But it was a video lounge room where there was pillows on the floor, and you could watch some of those videos.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was.
I think I've seen photos of that room. It was somewhere near the vault.
It was still upstairs, in the main, the kind of where you go in now. So now how they have it, that's really open in that area.
Yeah.
But that used to be very close. So there used to be almost like another room.
Like right in front of his dining area you're talking about.
Yeah. So there used to be another room there. So
interesting.
Yeah. So
interesting.
So we're watching videos, and we're just chilling out at Paisley Park. This is crazy. And then it got to be 11:00.
Yeah.
And then it's people started coming in more, and we're like, okay, well,
what's going on? Yeah. Oh, Tony, I think we've got an image pulled up here for. I think that's the pillow room right there. The third image to the right, or no?
No. So, that room. So that is downstairs in the vault.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about.
So I don't really think that they actually
that place
have
Paisley is such a trip because I feel like if you think you've seen it all, there's still rooms you haven't.
Right. Because he did some remodeling, and so when you go in the side door to the MPG Music Club.
Yep.
So that when you walked in, it used to be very narrow. It wasn't open like how it
is now for the store and stuff right there.
And then you had that desk over there, the merch desk and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that used to be a room in itself, and that's kind of where that was. Yeah. And then that hallway was very narrow to go. So you went to the music room, or you went to the hallway down to the studios, or you went to the big large production stage.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so that's I think he remodeled that. I would have to say that was probably 2000s.
Okay. It's weird because I remember going into a party where we lined up and entered through that nightclub entrance.
Okay, yeah.
I remember going in that way before.
Yeah. That's usually the way that everybody would go.
Because it's just right into the soundstage, because they weren't doing tours and stuff, I imagine.
Right.
It's here's the party, go on in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that became the main entrance after more kind of towards the late 90s, early 2000s. But when he was first starting to do it, it was in that main area where, the front doors, you walk in to the atrium.
It's where they start the tours now.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep. And then the dance parties would actually be in the atrium area.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, small. So then that's
Interesting.
kind of like we were kind of just hanging out, and all of a sudden, like, there's music starting to play, and then there's there's a dance party, and like this is so awesome, So
In the middle of nowhere.
I know, in the middle of nowhere, and the crazy thing is like how we really kind of found out about Paisley Park was through his MPG music store that
he
he
had
had
a
in
club
Uptown.
online, didn't he? Oh,
yeah,
the store.
in Uptown, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yep.
right off Lake Street. And I remember going in there, and then they asked, well, do you want to be on a list for, if there's parties or any like video things that are going
You're
on?
like, well, hell yeah.
Yeah, sure. And then usually, that's get a phone call, at home, like, this night, Saturday night, we're having a video shoot for this and this, and
That's awesome.
yeah, so it was crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you knew, you knew.
Oh yeah,
You know?
and so that was kind of like my indoctrination into going out to Paisley Park, and it was kind of like sneaking out there via my oldest brother, bringing us out there. But then as soon as I was going and bringing other friends, and then other people would be like, what do you? So here's a small town dude from Painesville, Minnesota. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Well, I'm gonna probably go and chill at Prince's studio. I don't know about you, but
You want to join?
exactly, yeah. So then it just became
Oh my gosh.
it almost became like a weekend thing. Like, hey, did you hear anything? Did you hear anything? Because then after that, it was like via email.
Once you go there, you realize the second you walk in and you see the eyes, it's a vibe.
Yeah.
It's not like anywhere else I've ever been, and it's just feeling there that you just want to keep going back.
Oh, totally.
You feel special just standing in the place.
Yes.
But
yeah, and the first time that I saw him live, and it's my favorite song. It'll always be my favorite song, and that is "Days of Wild." That was the first time that I walked in the soundstage, and he's and that loop is just riffing back and forth. It's like, oh my god, like
Days of Wild, yeah.
I'm like, whoa, what this is? I mean, like this is a good vibe, and then all of a sudden that whole, I'll never forget that moment was.
It's like the turning point.
Yeah, yeah. So every and it's kind of weird because everyone's got their vibe of. I probably could be the DJ that knows more music after 89 and beyond, like Questlove. He stopped at 89 and it goes back.
Yeah, big Prince guy. Yeah.
So so I'm like, that was kind of like my indoctrination. I always liked Prince.
Yeah.
Growing 6 years old, Purple Rain was the big thing, everywhere, because my oldest brother had it, and the first song, When Doves Cry, that was kind of like the big intro.
Yeah.
But for me, being now I'm old enough to see him live, it was Days of Wild, the Gold Experience era.
Yes.
And and it's like, I could be that DJ kind of like Questlove, where Questlove, he's like, anything after 89, it's no good. Well, no, I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you, Questlove.
I would too. I would too.
Much respect to Questlove, but he knows. He's a walking encyclopedia, and he can tell you everything about 89 and prior to that. But
I'm guessing the Batman thing pissed him off.
Probably that was it.
He's not real anymore, right?
I'm done. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was kind of really my first, intro to him and that band, the MPG.
Oh yeah,
was just
killer band.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I don't know, every lineup he has is just killer. But that MPG, early '90s, I love his. I call it his poofy coat era.
Yes.
I love that. Gangsta Glam, all those.
Yeah.
As I get older, my favorite stuff's almost like the B-sides or deep cuts now.
Yeah.
As I get older,
Definitely.
I don't know why. It's just like, it's been here the whole time, but I haven't delved into it,
there's just still so much to really get into.
Yeah,
so
you can't get into it all.
No.
Once you think you have, and then, it's overwhelming.
Yeah. Because, that era, which was... everyone says, well, that era was kind of the whole, Prince is not Prince anymore. Blah blah. He's a symbol and he's weird, but I think that was his most productive era.
The peak of an artistry.
Yeah, exactly.
He was already successful by that point. He was just having fun.
Oh yeah,
that's the way I looked at it.
Exactly. You know, I mean, yeah, he had his riffs with his music label and all that stuff, but man, he was really being kind of just, how do I go to the next level? How do I pioneer myself? And yeah, that was the best era for me, starting out. And, you kind of talk about how I got into DJing and going out to Paisley Park, it wasn't only just to see Prince, it was the vibe of that night. And
you didn't know who you were going to see there.
No, you did not. You did not. And what kind of turned for me too was like the DJ. Who's the DJ out there that evening? And when I started going out there, it was Brother Jules.
Okay.
Rest in peace to Brother Jules. But man, like he was on his game. There's Dudley D was out there, Linka Paris, those DJs. That was like, well, if you're DJing out at Paisley Park, you must be really good, you know. And that's kind of where I kind of set my levels. Like, okay, go out there and Brother Jules and all those DJs introduced me to a lot of other stuff too. That I'm just like, that's that's a good vibe. Outkast, that was kind of first time I was introduced to Outkast, and
brand new then, huh?
Exactly. So
yeah, it always kind of blew my mind because, as you know, Prince P, he always seemed to he found the musicians.
Yeah,
they weren't applying to him and they weren't trying out. He found them some way or another.
Yeah,
exactly. And I'm sure that's
well, yeah, and that's kind of the interesting part with me, because after I went to school for broadcast journalism, worked in radio, and then I did, when I was DJing for kind of a multi-op DJ company doing weddings and stuff. Then when I was working radio, and then I decided to kind of branch out and create my own DJ company, and I think you kind of caught on to the vibe of the name of my
To the Max
Entertainment. Yeah, we pull that up.
I love that. Yeah, that was a great album, by the way.
Oh yeah, another great album.
I was just listening to Blue Lights on the way home today, and I was like, God, this is such a good song. And as soon as I saw that To the Max, I was like, yep, he's the one.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, because I think you're the only person that's ever caught on to that. Oh yeah, To the Max. So yeah. And that was kind of like, wow, I'm thinking of what company name, and that album kind of draw me to that To the Max. Yeah. That's
it. And I knew, and I was like. No one would know what that is from any of his radio play stuff. Like that's like
right
deep cut.
That's a deep cut.
I was like, oh, sweet.
Exactly. Yeah.
To the maxentertainment.com, everybody.
Yes.
That's awesome.
25 years in the game.
25 years. That's respectable.
Thank you.
It's changed a lot too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure your rig's gotten smaller.
Rigs have gotten smaller, a little
lighter,
more high tech, lighter, and but it's more demanding actually now, because you're doing more than just showing up for a reception, and you're doing the ceremony, you're doing like I'm ordained also, so
way.
So I can officiate a ceremony if need be.
So you can DJ the ceremony and also marry me at the same time.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, wow. So it's
there it
all
is,
the
To the Max.
Yeah.
Got the purple in the background. That's awesome.
That
is awesome.
I got the turntables there, so that's
awesome.
I got a interesting story about how I switched over to turntables. So
yeah. Well, okay. So I guess what I'm curious about from this point is, so how did you get involved with Prince?
Good question, and it was definitely an interesting story. Because back when he released the Lotus Flower Minneapolis Sound album,
Mistaken me if I'm, or correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the one that was given away with Star Tribune, or was that Planet Earth?
That was, with that sun over in Europe, that was Planet Earth.
Because I thought they released one with the Tribune here.
No, not
maybe
here.
not. Maybe
no.
not.
I think that was all overseas that he did.
But I remember that Lotus Flower one you mentioned.
Yeah.
It had the Minneapolis Sound.
Yeah.
It was the three
disc. Yep. Yeah, because his distribution, he went through Target.
Yes.
For that.
Yes,
one.
I remember that.
Yes.
And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of like he had an exclusive deal with Target for that. And then that's when he was out in LA.
Yeah. 3121-ish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, because that was the album after 3121, but he was still out in LA, and then he was doing a lot of just the promos and the parties for that album out in LA. And I remember being on a Prince forum, Prince.org.
I was on there too.
All right, there you go. Yes, and everyone's been on the Prince.org. So
I heard Prince was even on there.
Oh yeah, Prince was on there. That's what leads me to the story. So
this is awesome.
So, because when I was on there, people were like, gosh, I mean, like, this is the Minneapolis Sound album. The second album is Minneapolis Sound, but he's not gonna be here. Like, we need to have something here, And so I was working for a corporate company downtown Minneapolis, in the Accenture building.
Okay. And
then there was like a restaurant bar type area there, and I went down to talk to him, like, hey, I know you guys do some private party type stuff on the weekends, and this is kind of what I'm thinking about doing. And they're like, oh yeah,
who could say no to a Prince party in Minneapolis?
Right, exactly. So they were all in on it, and I just had to pay like the liquor license or whatever it was.
I'm more surprised they didn't already have a party going on for it.
That's the whole thing. Like, everyone's just like, there's just nothing going on. Like, what are we doing?
You
like,
seize the opportunity.
Yeah. So I seized the opportunity. So I when I talked to them, I got their buy-in. Like, okay, we're doing it on this date. And then I went on to the Prince.org forum. Okay. Put that out there that, hey, this is going to be the album release party here in Minneapolis.
And this is like 2006, 7-ish, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. 2006. I think even maybe 2008 or something.
Oh, okay. It's about the year I graduated high school.
Yeah. But I think you're right. 2007 probably, or 6. So, yeah. So then I'm like, okay, we're good. I got it out there, selling tickets. So then the whole idea of that party, because he had that website too that he released, where you could access all the videos and everything.
Was that the MPG Club or something?
It was after the MPG Club. Okay. I think it was kind of part of it, or it was kind of a new remodel.
Same concept,
I think, but he called it Lotus Flower.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it was kind of like the whole new
about
MPG Music Club. And
okay.
So I had I went out and I think I bought oh my gosh, 5 of the albums to give away. And then I went and actually bought a subscription to the website to give away to, and then I'd have it, I had it on the wall and everything for people to access that evening. And then we're just jamming out and playing the album, and
that's awesome. There it is.
And so I remember then. So here's my kind of first interaction of getting in with the Prince world. So I get a phone call, and this female is on the other line. She's like, yeah, is this Michael Holtz? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, Mike, this is Ursula Love. This, I'm Prince's assistant. I'm like, what?
Like, how'd you get my number?
Exactly, right? So she's like, yeah, Prince saw that you're having this party, for the Lotus Flower album, and he wants to know, every detail as far as how are you planning on doing this, and how are you going to represent them, everything. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh,
okay.
Shit. Oh shit.
So, now I'm
I didn't sign up for this.
I'm like, is this going to be...
Now that was like a dream. Like, at that point when you heard that and you got that, you must have excited, scared at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh shit. Okay. He knows, like he knows what's going on.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to send the whole detailed plan. And so I sent it to her and she's like, yeah, thank you. We'll be back in touch with you. Well, then it's like, okay, we're getting about to be a week out and I haven't heard anything back. And I'm like, so like, what if he says no and he wants to scrap it
a day before?
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, and I'm gonna be out of the money I invested in this or whatnot. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So it was kind of nerve wracking. But then she called me and she called me back finally and said he really respects what you're doing and he's thank you for putting this together. Is it okay if his sister goes? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Can I put her on the flyer?
Yeah, exactly. So then it was kind of like, yeah, okay, she'll come and can you play like 2 of her songs? And I'm like, sure, yeah, no problem.
Wow.
So that was kind of my first time.
You got his blessing.
Yes, I got the blessing. So
wow.
We're good to go. And so the party went on and it was great success. And
awesome.
So that was kind of like my first kind of like, okay, I went out of the box and just did it. And yeah, so that was kind of my first, interaction
awesome.
With him in a way, like he knew what I would.
So I have something that ties into that and you might recognize it. I'm going to turn a little bit.
Yes. 777.
So this is an actual First Avenue employee shirt.
Yeah,
I dated a girl, not going to say her name, that worked at First Ave for many years. She knew I was a big Prince fan. She's like, look what she brought it home one day. She's like, look what I found in the storage closet. It's fresh.
Nice.
Staff on the back. And I'm like, dude, this is like, to me, this is like priceless. That was such an epic night. And it was around the same time that you threw your party.
Yes. And because that was, oh my gosh. Because because
that was when so on 777 he did Target Center. Or no, excuse me, he did 7th floor Macy's to promote his cologne.
Yep.
Then Target Center and then First Ave.
Yeah, because that was for 3121.
Yes.
That album.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. Because I remember I took my daughter to the Macy's concert.
Yep.
And then my wife and we went to the Target Center concert.
Okay.
Didn't make it to the First Ave concert.
I was 17, so I made it to the First Ave concert. I was there for a couple hours, but he played until I think 4 a.m, and the cops came and pulled the plug. I mean, that's such a Prince thing to do.
I know, yeah, totally.
Totally. Yeah, I was like, Prince, you're not at Paisley right now. Yes. They got rules.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the actual concert at the Target Center, that was like 2 hours. 2 or an hour late start too because he didn't have the sound wasn't quite right and stuff.
Yes, he's a perfectionist.
And it was a hot day.
Yeah. That's such a weird era to look back on because it seems he was busy from 03 to 08.
Yes.
Like, he was really busy. When I think back, it kind of jumbles it together,
It does.
But I'm like, yeah.
It
was a good time.
So, so then that was kind of really the kickoff. And then after that, I did a couple events for some of his former band members.
Were you still a radio DJ at this point?
No, I moved past that. So I was back down here. I left the radio station in 2000.
Oh, okay.
And I moved back down here to go back to school.
Gotcha.
For web design. So that was kind of like, because I started at the radio station, and then I started doing more of the web design stuff, being the webmaster there. So I kind of started getting into that. And I'm like, well, go to school. But then, of course, then 2008, the, .com, bubble just bursts. And, here I am.
Yeah.
But I'm back. But I'm back down in Minneapolis. I'm living down here now. And that's
awesome.
So then it's kind of more of like, I'm doing the DJ business, and then I'm also working in sales and stuff.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Got your hand in quite a bit of things.
Right. Yeah. So, doing all sorts of things I can play get my hands into. So but yeah, so I'm down Minneapolis at this point now. And it was kind of funny because when I left the radio station, my boss at the time, when he wrote the whole thing that I was leaving, he goes, well, Michael Holtz, he's leaving to go down, and Prince is very happy because he'll be able to DJ his parties, you know.
Really?
But this was like a whole joke, like whole
Oh,
thing.
funny.
Like, you know, like off, like
Photoshop kind of thing?
Yeah, so Prince will be happy, you know. He'll be down in the cities to DJ his parties. I'm like, I was never at that point gonna be DJing his parties, but yeah, it was crazy, you know, that actually, like, how that became real.
It was a joke.
It was a
but
joke.
It played out and it came to fruition.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Well, you know, like you said, everything you believe is true.
Yeah, that's right. Everything you believe, and it happened. It was crazy because, because we go back to that point where then I'm doing some shows for some of his former band members, Sheila E. For her foundation. Okay. She had an event at Fine Line, so I DJ'd that. So I was getting in a couple of those, you know, just other events, you know, that not really directly related to him, but it was, you know, a former band member or something like that. So then it was,
and this was all from hosting that first party.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So I mean, you know, so then, you know, time went by after that, because I mean, there wasn't much going on at Paisley Park for a while.
There was definitely a quiet period. I don't know if that's when he was like in Spain or Canada living at that point.
Yeah, I think there was that point too. He was in Canada, in Toronto,
but
Spain.
for a long time, it's like, it's like there was, it seemed like, I don't know if it was 10 years, but it seemed like many years he didn't do anything at Paisley.
Yeah.
And we're like, does he even live here anymore? Like,
right.
You know? And then, you know, back in, I want to say 2010 is when like the purple lights
started ramping up.
Yes, and the purple lights out front. And our joke was like, oh, the purple lights are on, that means he's home. I don't know if it's true, but that was our like local legend or local thing.
Yeah, because the 2008. So I was living around, all kind of around Minneapolis, you know, down in Burnsville, Apple Valley.
Oh, right on.
Bloomington, that area. Yeah. And then I met my wife, Rose, and so then we got married in 2008. So she was living in Eden Prairie, and then I was in Bloomington at that time. So when we were looking for homes, where, you know, all of a sudden,
he's looking in Chan is the first place you're looking at, I bet.
What Chan? But the Chaska ended up being the home. Yeah. You know, so I'm like, how interesting is that? And of course, then I got crap from my friends and stuff. Oh, yeah, you're just moving to Chaska because, you know, it's just right down the road from Paisley Park.
Why
you know?
not?
So I'm like, well, that's kind of a bonus, right?
It's hard. The weird thing is like growing up or living anywhere around there, there's some weird thing inside that won't let you move far away from there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's just like, you might not even been thinking about Paisley in this moment when you're thinking about moving or something, but it's just like, you just can't go far. It's like you feel like you're doing something wrong if you leave it. You know, it's almost like I feel like I'm watching over it every time I drive by, even though I'm not, but it's just like, but
well, you know, and the whole time, no, we're choosing Chaska because the school system's a good school system. So
there you go.
And you know, and again, it's like it's not too far from the cities, you know, and it's 30 minutes you're downtown and whatnot.
Technically, Audubon Road goes to Chaska too.
Yes, exactly. So
Audubon to Lyman, I think it is.
That was my route to Paisley Park. So every time I was called out, that was my route. Audubon Road, you know, to Lyman. Here we go.
Classic, man. That's awesome.
The back way in.
The back way in.
Yep.
Enter through the rear.
Exactly.
So when was the first like Prince party you got to DJ, and how did that come about?
So the very first Prince party that now do you want to say officially or unofficially? Because there is a spot in between there where it was an unofficial.
Let's just say, let's start with that. Let's
start with that one. Yeah, because that was an interesting one because that was in 2000. So he was still not Prince at the time. That's when Rave was coming out.
Raven 2, yeah.
Yes. And so there was a dance party, and I was just I was still working for the radio station.
Were you at that point? Rave Unto the DVD party?
Yes, I was. stood out in the cold for quite a while.
Yeah.
I missed. Well, I got lucky because it started while I was waiting outside in the cold. So about 45 minutes it started, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to get in or whatnot. And then it stopped. They had to redo something with production or whatever. So then they had to
Probably
redo
because
it.
they were filming it for the DVD and they wanted it to be
Yeah.
perfect, I imagine.
So then I was able to get in and then see the whole thing. So yeah. So
And that was a New Year's party, right?
It was well, it wasn't on New Year's.
Okay.
It was that weekend. I think it was early December.
Oh,
I think it
okay.
was like the second weekend of December, because it was actually it was 2 nights, because I think it was so Friday night is when the Time actually played
Okay.
their part. So we got into that one pretty easily, because it was kind of like, he's probably not gonna play, but the whole thing about that got cut out, which I wish would have stayed in, is that he came out to Cool and did that with More Stay in the Time.
Wow.
Yeah, and it didn't make it. I'm like, oh man, 'cause
It's always like that, though. It's always the shows you
Yes.
don't think like, oh, there's someone just, mixing music, whatever. It's like, he's not going to be there. Oh, guess what happened last night?
Exactly.
Yes. Or he came out at 3 a.m.
Yes.
He hit the stage at 3 a.m. We didn't get out of there till 7.
Yes. So, but then the next night was going to be the full production night, with Lenny Kravitz, all them coming out, and the Chanhassen Fire Department was out there,
Awesome.
so you could only let so many people in, and and I had, they were just taking, like, at one point, then there's like whatever you got in cash. So at first they're like, it's got to be $100 to get in for cash, and then I'm like, I don't have $100. So you're just kind of like waiting outside, and then they're like, okay, we'll just take whatever, because some people were leaving or coming in, so I got lucky and made it into that one.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And around 2007, I saw him with Tamar at the Orpheum.
Oh.
And this was kind of funny.
That was
around 2006 or 7, I want
Yeah.
to say. And I got there really early. I actually skipped my prom to go to this Orpheum show.
Yeah, I don't regret that.
Don't regret that. What I did get, though, I got there early, and they were handing out these. They weren't. I don't know. I still have them somewhere. I don't know if they were technically VIP, but they were after party. These they're almost like a postcard.
Yes.
And it said VIP party at Paisley Park, and it had Tamar on one side.
Yep.
I still have it somewhere, but that was that was kind of a turning point for me there. But I forgot what I was tying that into, but it was around that same era.
Era, yeah. And that was 31-21 era, because that was after he released the album. Then he was trying to get her.
Yeah, he was her
going.
protege at the time.
And again, that was like the best non-Prince show I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh,
you were at that one then too?
I was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was at that one. I was like, yeah, that was a great show.
Oh my! And how many times are you going to see him in the Orpheum?
Right.
I was wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you kind of saw him really working on his craft of being a guitar player.
Yeah.
And that's
Fury.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. Very good.
We love you, P.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That, and,
So
I always go back to that one and Joy and Repetition, the live version.
yes. Yep. Always good.
Speechless, man. That's awesome. So you did that unofficial party song.
Yeah, so backing up to the rave era, just that 2000 era, because it was just a little bit after that, the Rave Unto the Joy, the DVD.
Mm-hmm.
So it was supposed to be a dance party. I'm out there. We're out there, kind of like people are vibing, but the DJ that was supposed to be out there didn't show up. And I knew one of the engineers there. His name was Purple, because he played in a band out in Wilmer, Minnesota, with another dude that worked at the radio station with. Yeah.
Oh no!
So
way.
it was just some like cover long hair band.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I kind of knew him from that, and then so he knew that I DJ'd at the radio station, but I'm not like DJing the whole thing yet, because I'm just kind of like in between my whole like starting my business yet with
Yeah.
doing the wedding DJ stuff. But yeah, so he finds me. He's like, hey, because I'm at Paisley Park, and he's like, hey, we're supposed to have a dance party tonight, and the DJ is not here, so I don't know who was supposed to be out there that night. So he's like, can you DJ? And I'm like, Purple. I'm like, I'm a radio DJ. I don't have CDs or anything. What am I gonna do? And so, and then this is
pre iTunes.
Pre iTunes, exactly. So, and then this is when in the MPG music room, everything was upstairs. So you go upstairs. Well, then he goes, oh, I'll have someone up there to help you out or whatever.
So the DJ used to mix and do everything up there?
Yeah, up in that balcony area.
I've seen the balcony. It's where they hang the bumper from that Sign of the Times album right there, right?
On that side, but it's on the other side where the symbol in that corner hangs. It's that balcony there.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never been up there, but I've seen the stairs.
Yeah, so that's where originally like the DJ would kind of be like the home base, and then Prince could go up the stairs, or he could come out. There's like a door up there too that kind of goes into like a dressing room upstairs area. Yeah. So I get up there and I'm like, oh, okay, it's all vinyl. Oh, this is
wow.
Just some turntables. So so he's like, I'll help you, whatever. So so I'm just going through, thumbing through, and it's all Prince vinyl. So I'm just playing tracks out, cueing this one, cueing that one. And then he comes up and I'm like, okay. So he's just sitting there and I'm playing stuff off the Symbol album and stuff off Diamonds and Pearls and all that. So he's just sitting there. He's got a lollipop and he's just vibing to it. Well, then I was going to wanted to queue up, Love to the Nines.
Oh, yep.
And I queued up, My Name is Prince. And this is the time he hadn't changed his name yet. So I'm like, oh, God.
Uh-oh.
So as I'm playing it, he kind of like leaves. And I'm like, okay. I must have offended him or something because I'm playing My Name is Prince,
He released it. You didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, shoot.
He didn't retract it like the Black album.
Right? But then, that whole time I'm like, do I say something to him? Whatever, just kind of, I'm like, I'll just, let's be
Should
chill.
put on Sexy Motherfucker to throw him off.
There you go, right?
That's still correct.
Yeah. I think I could have got away with that one at that time yet. So he wasn't quite like, Jehovah yet. So I could have probably got away with that one.
Yeah, I think he, around 2004 with Mr. Larry Graham, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was around that time, right?
2001 or 2, because then it was the Rainbow Children after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Because it's on my mind right now.
Yeah.
2 days ago, 40 years ago, Around the World was released.
Yes. 40th anniversary.
Wanted to bring that up, everybody. But,
yes.
Sorry, as you were saying.
Yes. 40 years.
Wow.
Last year was 40 years Purple Rain. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So everything's going to be 40 now.
It's wild, man.
It's crazy. But yeah, so I'm like, oh God, I offended him. This is it. So then he went away for a while, and I was still, playing music, and it was pretty much just heavy Prince because I didn't know anything else on.
So was he like up there just like staring at you, or just like feet away, or
yeah?
Like...
I mean, he was literally like, probably from me to you, and he's just kind of just vibing. He's looking at the crowd, just kind of vibing to the music. And
I picture him standing off in a shadow, and you're like, I can see you.
Yeah, no, right? So, and I think it was kind of like, do I perform or do I not? How's the crowd? Whatever.
Yeah.
But he went away for, it was maybe like 30 minutes or so, and then all of a sudden the security guy comes up, hands me a disc, and he goes, play this, and then this is it. And then he got a whole bunch of swag, and it's like, here, thanks for doing this, filling in. So it was like I got like 2 of those MPG hockey jerseys.
Oh, cool.
And hats and stuff. So I'm like,
I bet you still have them.
Oh yeah, I do.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, sweet, thank you. And then I played, and it was the remix, the Hot With You remix. with Eve.
Yep.
So I'm like, did he just maybe go back and remix this already? Like when we were gone or whatever. So that was insane. You know, I'm like,
wow.
But you never know. That's probably like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to the studio and then come play that. And so it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. You know, and that was like, so that was kind of like my first, just unofficial, throw you to the wolves type of.
Your opportunity was there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you took it.
So I took it. You know, I'm like, well, whatever. You know, if no one, the other DJ is not going to show up, then someone's got to have a party.
Yeah,
we're having a party.
You got to keep
People
it going.
are here. Yeah, exactly.
That is awesome. Wow.
So that was my first, but going back to when I first got the call to officially go out there. Was in 2014, and it was April Fool's. It was 1 a.m. in the morning, and
April Fool's. Did you think it was a joke, possibly?
Oh yeah, totally. So Ursula Love calls me again, and she's like, "Hey, Michael." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, again, I'm like, "It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Who is this?" And she's like, "This is Ursula." I'm like, "Oh, okay. What's
I'm
going
awake."
on?" I'm like, she's like, "Yeah, are you busy this weekend?" I'm like, "For what?" She's like, "Yeah, Prince would like to have you come out. He wants to try you out. He's singing. He wants to do these Paisley Park after dark type
I remember
of
Paisley
events,
Park,
So are you available to come out?" And at first I'm like, "Okay, like, are you really? Is this really Ursula, or who are you?" She's like, "No,
Yeah.
this is really me." Like, Michael, yeah. I'm like, "You want me to come out? This, like, me?" She's like, "Yeah. Are you available?" I'm like, "Damn right I'm available." So I'm like, okay. So after I confirmed and found out, okay, it's actually her. She's calling, and I wake up my wife. I'm like, "Hey, I just got a call." And she's like, "Oh, what?" It's just like, I'm sleeping here.
Yeah.
I'm like, Prince wants me to come out and DJ this week. So she's not having it.
You're dreaming.
Right, and I'm just all like adrenaline starting to go. So I'm already.
You're not going back to bed.
No, I'm not going back to bed. So now I'm already like, okay, I'm in my office and I'm like, okay, playlist. Okay, what am I gonna playlist play? And I'm just like shaking, like. And then the next morning, I'm like, I gotta call Lenka, because Lenka was one of his other DJs. So I'm like, I gotta talk to her. And so I'm like, Lenka, what do you do? What are you out there? What do you? So like,
give me some tips here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you put your stuff together? She's like, well, I just have, she's like, I just have a crate, that's like Prince. Just throw all your Prince in there, and then and then kind of really cut it down to what you really want to play. And she goes, you just never know, have some other stuff in there like that you think would be good for the bop, like your old school hip hop, R&B type stuff. So so then I'm working on playlists so a week. So
that's awesome.
But I remember, and then so it was again. It's going back to that whole like my first experience walking in the front doors of Paisley Park as just the first time of going into Willy Wonka's
as a teenager.
As a teenager.
Yep.
Now this is my first experience of I'm going in the back door, and this is just
I'm going into Paisley, but I'm going in
right.
It's not an
not
attendee,
a fan.
Okay, I'm going in as an employee.
Yeah, exactly. And
awesome.
It's just a whole another.
Feel like you kind of made it then.
I did.
Yeah.
It was, and it was. I like again just shaking the whole time.
Yeah,
like
I bet.
Walking in, and you're like, I'm like, am I in Paisley Park like before anybody else type deal?
Wow.
Because my whole time I'd see all the other.
You're used
DJs
to waiting in line, bro.
Yeah, waiting in line. Seeing Brother Jules walk in, Dudley D walk in, like, oh man, that must be cool. Like, what happens when
and now you're at that level. At this point. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And I still remember the very first song I opened up with. I played 3121.
That album and musicology is so underrated.
Yes,
those two, especially for like dance and parties, like. so 3121 so funky.
Well, again, 3121. Why is that groove so funky? Because he had Michael Bland and Sonny T on that.
Always. Michael Bland is a killer.
Yes, exactly.
Michael Bland, Sonny T, yeah. And then Sonny's not there. You got Larry Graham. So it's like, it's a win-win anyway you look.
Exactly. So, yeah.
But that was a simple tune. It was a simple jam, but it was just so funky.
Yeah. So
Prince liked his space, his open space.
Totally.
You know, I think he used that almost as an instrument in itself sometimes. You know what I mean? Just the open space.
Yes. So. Yeah. And that's is that
cut that one out.
You getting a call for it?
No important. Let me cancel that one quick. Sorry about that, bud. I didn't know I had an alarm set. Anyway, that was a funky bop, that one.
Oh man, yeah. So I still get goosebumps. That wow, I'm playing this music in Paisley Park, and it's just. Wow.
So what
people are walking in.
What year would you say that show was?
So that was 2014. So that was April 5th of 2014. That was the night he had Candace Springs out there.
Oh my God, that's funny you say that. So I was living in the Bay Area in California at that time. And my dad was still living in Chan. It was 2014. It was either March or April. I'm guessing it was the April date. And I begged my dad. I heard there was a Paisley Park party. I'm like, Dad, go to this party. Go to this party. He's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go alone and all that.
Yeah.
I talked to him the next day. Jesus Christ. I went to the party. I didn't get out till like 6 in the morning. I was drinking with these hot chicks in line and dancing the whole night. It's like, are you happy you went? He's like, yeah. And also that same night, he left when everybody else left, but I guess the few people that stayed around, Prince brought into a room to listen to.
Yes.
So it was that party my dad was at.
Yeah. So the second party was when Candace Springs. So that first party, so the first party, he came out because he was bringing in Third Eye Girl.
Yep.
At that time, so I played, and then he came on stage. He played Bambi, a couple other like heavy guitar riff stuff, but then he was having some issues with his guitar, and then that was kind of the end of the night type thing. But I think too, then after that, that's when he was inviting other fans in to listen to more like the Third Eye Girl type stuff. Now Candace Springs was the second time that I was out there DJing in April. So this was late April that month.
Okay.
So, and then this was kind of like the Purple Rain anniversary-ish celebration of 30, what was it, 30 years or 35 at that point. And because he had her play.
Yeah, I think 30, right? 84, 2015, 40, yeah.
God, was it 30? Yeah, Jesus.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, so then that's when he really kind of went into full, like, Take Me With You, all the Purple Rain hits he was playing. Because Candace Springs started the evening. She was in the small club area, MPG Music Room. And then they opened the doors, and then he started everything. But yeah, that night it was crazy because for me and being out there, I always know he was a stickler for like no dead air. If there's some dead air, we're either punching in the DJ or play the song or whatnot. And I remember he was talking about Candace Springs. We're gonna go see Candace Springs, and then I'm like, there was dead air. And so I started playing a song, and he goes, I ain't done yet. And he goes into Kiss. I'm like, oh, damn. So I'm like, oh, shit.
Sorry, boss.
I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to get fired. I'm done. This is it. It's over type thing. And then he had the shoes with the whole like red little light that would sparkle.
Yep.
I literally saw him from this big stage coming through all the people. I'm playing. I'm like, God, is he gonna come? Is he gonna come up here?
Don't look at the lights.
So all of a sudden, he comes up here. And I'm like, And he goes, and he comes up and he goes, once Candace starts, you can stop. I'm like, okay. And then I looked at him, I'm like, and I said, you really got me with that whole kiss thing. So I was kind of like, I'm like interjecting with him. Like, you really got me with that whole kiss thing. He goes, I know. He gives you that whole side eye, that smile. I know.
Yeah.
And then he was off. He walked out. I'm like,
from what I've heard, he was a jokester.
Oh, yeah.
He was a big jokester.
So that was kind of like, okay, this is how the game works out here, And if he, like, that was my first interaction with him, like, and he's kind of like, okay, he probably knows how to handle this. And then I remember he came back after Candace was done, and then he's like wanted to play a couple clips from the Third Eye Girl album, and so he's like, he comes up to me, he's like, all right, I'm gonna play a couple songs from our new album, Third Eye Girl. But I want you to, hear the song and then play something that kind of flows with it. Like,
I gotta be fast on this one.
Okay. So he's like, I'm gonna point to you and right, so he's down at the small, he's down at the soundboard.
Oh,
we're in the big sound stage now. He's on the soundboard, so he's plugged in and playing the hits, his clips, and then he'll point to me, and then so I'm like, okay, well, I'll go. So I was kind of bouncing off to more like old school stuff from that. So I would go into Shaka Khan, Feel For You, something like that, or whatever. And then he'd cut me off. Then he'd go into another cut, and then he'd cut me back. So we were going back and forth.
It's almost like you're part of the band at that point.
Right? Exactly. I'm like, oh God, So then, but then that whole, and then Funk and Roll came on, and I remember like Funk and Roll, and then the Wobble was kind of like very close together, and then so he played Funk and Roll, and then I'm like, Wobble, Wobble. So I hit Wobble Vic, and he pointed to me, and I went into Wobble, and he's like, this, and then we were done. And then Third Eye Girl, the girls were out on the dance floor, they were doing the Wobble, because that was kind of like their thing. The kind of one of the songs that, like, if it wasn't, one of those wedding songs.
Play. Yeah, that's funny. It's like the chicken dance.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all doing the Wobble out on the dance floor. So yeah, so that was kind of my second experience. But as I started, doing more events out there, you did kind of really get that vibe of how he communicated with you, because sometimes you're just like,
you kind of like start to read him and learn him as a little
and he kind of reads you and challenges you, like, well, I'm gonna give you this directive, and can you do it, or how are you gonna handle it, type thing. So everything after that was like just off the cuff type stuff.
Wow.
And,
but you knew what to expect from that point on, at least.
Yes. Don't sit back. Don't relax.
Problem. Oh my God, he's a band director.
Yeah.
When you see him on stage, everything. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny, because if I was in your position, I'd be like, was he serious? Was he kidding? I wouldn't even know. I'd be like, was he mad? What? Was it a joke?
I know, right?
I would be so worried.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, well, the other time, FKA Twigs was out there.
Okay.
And so I DJ'd that one, and so she played. She opened up, and I remember when I was out there, I saw a couple of her managers were there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one was wearing kind of one of those blaze yellow type construction vest or whatever,
Don't hit me in the middle of the road. Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, but it was an interesting vibe that night, because then she got done, and again the doors opened, the big doors to the sound stage, and then he starts playing. Everybody comes in, and him and Third Eye Girl are playing, and then they play one song, and then he says DJ, so I go into playing my set. So I'm at this point, I'm like on the floor, kind of kitty corner to the stage, and then the like pool tables and ping pong tables are kind of in the back there. So then he comes down and then he goes, tell the band that this is how it's gonna go tonight. We're gonna play a set and you're gonna play a set. And he walks off. So I'm like, okay. So
I guess this is how it's gonna go.
You know, like so I'm like, well, I'm in my set now. Okay, so I put my headphones down and I saw Joshua Welton, Hannah's husband, and because they're all back there, they're playing pool, whatever. And I went, I'm like, hey Joshua, and he's like, yeah. I said, Prince told me to tell you guys that tonight we're gonna be kind of alternating. You know, I'm gonna do my set, couple songs. You guys are gonna do a set. He's like, Prince told you? I'm like, yeah, Prince told me that.
I don't know why he didn't tell you guys, but I'm telling you guys.
Because he walked off to you know, go to
He floated away
over the corner. Oh, he's gone. You know, so he's like, oh, Prince told you? Like, yeah. So then I saw Josh walk over to that, and then also Josh is walking back, and he's like, okay, I'm like, okay, we're good. So he confirmed, you know. So,
wow. Okay.
So then Prince came back out. I'm done with my set, and he gets back up there, and he's tuning up the guitar. And then him and Third Eye Girl are in a loop, and he's tuning up the guitar, you know, and then he puts it back down. He walks down, and he comes back over to me. And so I'm just standing there, and he's like, where's Twigs at? And like, I'm like, Twigs? Like, oh, you talking about Twigs? He's like, yeah, I would like her on stage. I'm like, do you want me to go get her? You know, so I'm like, okay, I'll go get her. So,
What do you mean?
So like, he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, and then he walks away. You know, I'm like, okay. So now I'm like, where the hell is she? You know, so
now your mission is to locate Twigs.
Yeah. So then I'm like, where did she go? Like, do I have access to walk the whole Paisley Park to
Should I
find
look
her?
in the bathrooms?
So now I'm on this mission, you know, like going through everybody, and then I think that was one of her managers wearing that blaze yellow construction vest. So I walk over and I'm like, hey, by chance, are you Twigs's managers? And she's like, yeah. Well, you know, I'm like, well, I'm Prince's DJ. I said he's wanting her to come on stage. Do you know where she's at? And she's like, oh yeah, she's right up there. So she was sitting in one of those couches.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Yep. So I'm like, okay, so this is gonna be fun. I'm gonna go up, and she's probably like, who's this rando coming up to me? And you know, should she be scared or whatever? So just go up and like, hey, Twigs, yeah, I'm Michael, I'm Prince's DJ. Oh, hi, nice to meet you. I'm like, yeah, he would like to have you like come up on stage. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so I'm like extending my hand, like, you know, follow me, I'll get you down. So I'm trying to get her out through the crowd to get on stage. Well, then all of a sudden he like stops, like he's done. Whatever, and I'm like, oh shit. So the band's getting, so I have to run back to my DJ table and get into my set. So I run back, press play, get into something. So then I'm like, okay. So now I'm thinking by this time she's just she was like smaller than Prince.
The nickname, right?
Yeah, Twigs, right? Yeah. So I'm like, did she go? Oh no, she's just standing like right there, like with everybody else, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay, she didn't go all the way. So now I'm like, okay, put my headphones down. So, and I see Prince, he's in the back, just kind of hanging by the pool table, talking to the band and stuff. So I go back, I'm like, hey Prince, I said, I have Twigs out there for you. He's like, show me. So I had to escort him over, and then he walks like right by her, and I'm like, no, Prince. I'm like, she's right here. And he's like, thank you. You know? So then those two finally meet, and then he brings her back. So I'm like, oh, okay, thank God, you know. So it was just like, so I was like, what is going? I'm like, why am I the point guy tonight? What?
Yeah. Wow, that's funny.
Those were those, like times where it's like, what? Like one night, Judith Hill, when she was starting, he was on drums, and I'm just kind of hanging out on the side.
It's kind of a rare sight to see.
Yes, right?
We all know he plays them, but you don't see him on there too often.
You don't, but when you do,
it's Oh, yeah. That and bass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just like hanging out, and he's and he's like, and I'm over. I'm like, what? Like, is he gonna hand me the drumsticks or something? I'm like, what?
Okay.
No. Why? So I'm like, okay. So I go up behind him, and he's like, he goes taps down. He goes taps up, vocals down. And I'm like, taps up, vocals down. Yeah, tell the sound man. Oh, okay. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I gotta go tell the sound man. Oh, where the hell's the sound guy?
Whoa.
You know,
in the shadows.
I know. So he's back there. So I go run it back to the back part of the MPG music room, and I said, hey, Prince says taps up, vocals down. And again, he looks at me like, yeah, he told me, I don't know why.
I'm just a messenger boy at this point.
So then he kind of looks, and then Prince gives him okay, we got you. I'm like, oh my God,
Oh yeah, his sound checks were gnarly. He had the ear.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's funny though. That's
I know.
funny. From behind the kit, he was
behind the kit.
not even in the pocket. Not out of the pocket.
Yep.
Adjust this, that. I don't know how you could hear it from there.
I know,
but
just doing his thing. Like taps up, vocals down.
Okay.
Taps up, vocals down. So I'm like,
that's a tattoo right there.
Yeah, right.
Taps up, vocals down, baby. That's awesome.
I'm like, I'm not a drummer, but I'm like, okay, don't forget this.
Yeah. That's even funnier. Yeah, didn't think about that.
But. Yeah. So I mean, then there was another night too where, it was another Judith Hill. I think it was Judith Hill that night. No, it was. Oh, the Lynx when they won the
women's team. He invited them back to the party.
Yeah, so I got to DJ for that, and then that was we were just kind of kicking it, and he was rehearsing, and so he was doing a loop of My People.
Okay.
Judith Hill's song,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're just kind of chilling, and now actually I have to kind of rewind on how this kind of came to be. Because the previous time I was out there, he wanted to show a movie. It was the Third Eye Girl live from France. But there was a buzzing noise going on within the studio, and he couldn't exactly figure out where it was coming from. So he comes up to me, and he goes, "We're gonna sound check you." I'm like, "Okay." So see if it was me or if it was Trevor with the laptop, and so he's sitting there, and I'm like, okay, and he's like what? And at this time, I'm just bringing out my little controller, so nothing big or anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's this? And I'm like, oh, this is my mixer. It's what I use. And he's like, ever tried vinyl? I'm like, I really hadn't.
Where do I start?
Gotten into it because I just kind of started out.
At that point, you're not gonna start on vinyl in 2000.
Right. Exactly. So I'm kind of like, well, I started out really kind of with compact discs, and I'm like, now it's technology, and then that whole kind of thing about him being like, so he's talking to me like, sometimes you got to start where it all began to understand how you got to this point.
Really?
Yeah. So, and then he walks away. You're good. I'm like, okay. So he walks away, and I'm like, oh shit. So the next day, I'm out, searching for.
The next time you showed up at Paisley, you were with a vinyl. I guarantee it. That's awesome.
So, as on my website, you see the picture of my turntables. I bought gold Pioneer 2 turntables, mixer. So I had it out. So this was the first time I brought it out for the Lynx party. And before the party, we're kind of hanging out, chilling, and I saw him walk by, and I saw him give the nod, like, oh, yeah.
See, that was him recognizing that you followed instructions.
Right.
Those are Prince-styled instructions. You caught on to it, and that's awesome.
So I took a crash course on actually just really, scratching. I never, wedding DJs, you beat match, you kind of do all that stuff, but I really took a crash course on quick mixing, scratching, just
now.
Your
Is
traditional.
that how you prefer?
I do, yeah. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome. Well, I imagine you have somewhat more control when mixing vinyl in a way. Maybe
it's a better feel that I have for. I mean, it's still like now it's more digital.
Yeah.
Anyway, because you don't really need to use the needle anymore.
Yeah.
You have a little contraption that works with the software.
Yeah.
And the latency is pretty much on target. So but the feel of vinyl,
there's something.
So yes,
Vinyl's so warm.
Yes.
And as a guitar player, I have quite a few guitar amps, but this one right here is a tube amp.
Yeah.
Right here. And solid state compared to tune, there's just a warmth in it. Same with vinyl that you cannot emulate.
Yes.
And when you hear it, the crackle, it's so genuine. You just can't replicate that.
And I truly look at that. So my turntables, I will only take out for my weddings.
Oh, perfect.
But any other thing, I'll just stick with my mixers. But I truly feel like having that and have learned that's my instrument.
Oh, it totally is an instrument.
It's
totally
just,
an instrument, man.
So he gives me that, like, hey, like, wow. And I'm like, okay. So then he's messing around with my people, and he's looping it, and the band's kind of rehearsing and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's like, DJ. I'm like,
yes, sir.
Yeah. He's like, put some scratchy scratch on the beat. And I'm like, oh. So I'm like, okay, here we go. And of course, I just started this, right? So I got this, like, the beginner scratching kit, sounds, and of course, I mean, so I'm just pulling that up, and I'm just doing the baby scratches on.
Yeah.
So, and then the Lynx come out, and we start partying and everything.
And that
playing.
must have been a cool party to be at, because I mean, it was really only the team and maybe their friends.
It was. Yeah, I mean, it was the team and management and, some of their friends. And
oh, man. I bet it was awesome.
Oh, yeah, it was such an awesome night. And then, again, he calls me out, to scratch on, a couple of the loops. And then all of a sudden he calls, like, hey, he's like, Lynx, what do you think about DJ? And they're like, ah! And then Lindsay little hand comes up, fist pumps me, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Maya Moore, like,
yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Prince was wearing his Nike Dunks number.
Yeah.
That would have been the night he would have.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, wow, like, so he's like, yeah, let's give it up for my DJ. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
I'm like, shit. So then after the whole thing, I was talking to Trevor, which was Donna Grantis' husband.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor, I'm like, I didn't know I was going to be part of the band tonight. And he goes, dude, that's just how it works. You just never know,
Yeah.
And then Trevor and Trevor basically said, I mean, this Prince is getting comfortable with you. And I kind of saw that.
When he's having the crowd applaud for you,
yeah.
I mean, you're doing something right.
Right. I'm thinking like, oh, don't fuck this. Don't fuck this.
Number one, you haven't had to put any money in the swear jar.
Yes.
He's having people applaud to you. I think you're doing something right.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, the swear jar. That was that's funny. You bring that up because two rules.
Real thing, right?
2 rules. Before the whole thing was 2 rules: no swearing and don't show up high. So like, okay,
what? Or just anything? Just sober.
Anything, yeah.
Just be straight.
Be straight. So, yep. Otherwise, you're out.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I could see that.
So
he didn't mess around.
No. So then that whole week, like, we kind of talking about me put my playlist together. Well, then I had to go through all my music and take out all the swear words out and all that stuff. So I'm like filtering through that.
It's like, bro, you wrote this.
I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Well, and then, I mean, some of them snuck in there because I'm like, oops, like loose. Yeah, that one kind of, but you can't really.
Like Erotic City and something like that?
Erotic City.
That would be so hard to like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's tough. And then one night, Kendrick, I played the George Clinton Kendrick Lamar song "Ain't That Kind of Funkin' Hard on You."
Was that the performance with Kendrick Lamar at Paisley? 'Cause I know
it was right before that actually,
okay.
And so I can't remember what. Oh yeah, he just had that was a night he had. It was a private party that I did. So he's kind of I'm down from in the MPG music room, so I'm down on the floor, kind of the side of the stage, and then he's chilling out in one of the couches.
Oh, of course.
And then I'm playing. I'm like, oh, so kind of the whole thing too is like, this is new, like it just came out. Like, I think he'll like it. So I started playing it, and all of a sudden, he gets up, he comes over, he's like, what is this song? I'm like, ain't that kind of funking hard on you? And he goes, who's it by? And I'm like, it's George Clinton and Kendrick Lamar, And he's, thank you. And then he goes out. But I think he thought like it was swearing. But then he's kind of like, okay, a little bit more interested in like, okay,
George?
George.
Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was
and
weird.
Then he goes, sits down.
I did see George at a Paisley party one time.
Oh yeah.
And the funny thing was, I saw him there, but the more exciting part was seeing him at Holiday gas station in that old Honda Civic with some chick at like 4 a.m, Highway 7 on Market Boulevard and 5
Nice.
and Chan. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
And I was what is going on?
Is that when he still had all the colored dreads?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But I looked over, and there was like a rusted out like 95 red Honda Civic. He was driving it.
Yeah.
With some girl in there, and I was just like, and I knew it was him because I just saw him
Yeah.
at Paisley, and I'm just like scratching my head like, it's a weird night.
Yeah, George was one that probably put the most money in the swear jar because he wasn't gonna stop.
I'm surprised Prince. If it wasn't for the music, Prince probably would have had nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
yeah.
It like, yeah, I would say like on a musical scale, those two are like two peas in a pod, but maybe on a social scale, probably not. Like,
That's what's weird. It's
right.
The funk unites them. That was about it.
Right, exactly.
But otherwise, because like in the private lives are totally different.
Totally different. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I remember George. He was hanging out, and me and a couple of my buddies were kind of trying to talk to him, and I was like, like what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, George. Yeah. So,
that's what the '80s sounds like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he got on stage and all he said was, "A girl ain't nothing but a booty ain't nothing but a girl." So take this.
At that point, Prince was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. That's funny.
Prince is like, George, we got that swear jar.
Yeah. George is almost like Prince if he never found God.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Were you at the party? I can't remember the time or year. It wasn't that long ago. I can't remember if it was post or pre-death, but with Madonna was there?
I was there, yes. I was there as a spectator. And
she had a concert or show here in the city, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was kind of one of those weird nights too, because that was like a late announcement for people, and so like,
and Prince was alive at this time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, and it was kind of like, hey, and usually like if I didn't DJ the events, I typically didn't go. It's kind of like, oh, I'll just kind of hang back, and because I just avoided the questions of why aren't you DJing tonight type thing or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever.
I hear
mean,
that.
it's kind of like, hey, we all share. It's all
Yep.
good. But yeah, I'm like, but something like, I need to go out that night. So I just like, I'm gonna go out. Yeah, and it was like literally like six of us. There wasn't many people there, and he was playing already. And then all of a sudden, this just
Wow.
wave of people come in, and it's Madonna. Like, what, Madonna?
And Chan.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And here you see like Madonna just fanning out over Prince.
I heard he was like serenading her.
Yes, he was. She was right up on stage. Oh my God! It's just screaming. Blah,
I mean, that was the epitome of 80s right there.
Right, yeah.
Madonna and Prince, like, wow.
Yeah. And I think kind of like, that the last, era, the 2014s and all that, I think was, gosh, I mean, it was prime for him.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think he was just at that, because I don't think like Madonna would have come out before, because I know there was a couple times she was here.
Yeah.
She didn't come out. I mean, that's like a long ways go all the way from St. Paul to come out Chan.
It is kind of out of the way.
Right.
And they're probably like, where the hell are you taking me?
Right.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah. But at that period, it was like starting to be like all the artists they're going to make their way out here. And whether it's 20 minutes or whatever, and he invites you, you're going to be there. And
that was like in the point of his career, which I felt like he was really having the most fun.
Yeah.
And not trying. Well, he only always ever made music for himself, but he was just really having a lot of fun at that point.
A lot of fun. And I think he was really wanting to be more of a teacher. And
I think
that's why you saw like.
He was a band director with Third Eye Girl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. I totally get that.
Yeah. And it was kind of like, it was that change that I noticed, from first going out. I mean, like when you first went out to Paisley Park, you went through metal detectors, you got patted down, there was heavy security everywhere, blah, blah. But those last like 3 years, I mean, there wasn't any of that. There was, not too many of security, and he
wasn't charging people.
No, he wasn't charging people. Like, and he was just really like less guarded, I feel like, as far as his personality or his mystique in a way, like
it was always kind of a weird era for me when I look back and think about it, because it was, I don't know if you feel this way, but it was almost like he was like reverting back to his old self.
It was weird.
It was weird. The fro, it got big.
Yeah.
I can't really explain it, but I don't know if it's just kind of like I did my job and it's just kind of time
and
to.
I think that's kind of what I kind of felt like. He was like, I've been there. I've established myself, the legendary status, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But now I'm here to be the teacher and to really
be himself again.
Be himself.
Not going to care to get all dressed up, even though he still took care of himself. Don't get me wrong. But it was just. You know what I mean? It was kind of hard to explain.
And I'm still going to release kick-ass music. Oh, yeah. Like Artificial Age. I mean, Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Did you know? Here's some trivia. You know Coco and Breezy?
Yes.
So, I rode this high school bus with them.
You did? Really?
They went to Chaska.
Really?
Yeah. And then they went out to make the Third Eye glasses.
Oh, so I didn't know that they were local.
Yeah. So they're actually from Burnsville, Apple Valley. And in like 8th or 9th grade, they transferred to Chaska. I think their parents were divorced or something. So they were twins, and they were always kind of into fashion and stuff, like that. And so years later, Third Eye era, I somehow get taken to their website. I'm like, oh, cool. They're making stuff for Rihanna. Oh, Prince. Oh, they made the Third Eye glasses. And I'm just like, I don't even think that's why he chose them to make them. I think it's just all a full Chan, something in Chan.
Yeah.
There's something about it. But when I tell people that, I'm like, I grew up with them. Like, they made the Third Eye glasses. A lot of people don't even know that.
That's awesome. And he was definitely being a lot more open to his fans' artistic work and wearing it.
Yes.
And, because I knew, you know, some of the people like there where he would be like, yeah, you drew this. This is awesome. And then he was more than willing to have, hey, this is your artwork. Go sell it. And, you know, which was really cool.
That's what I was telling the producer, Tony, is like, he always liked up and coming art. He respected it. I was like, he probably would have liked what we were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but maybe he would have.
Maybe not. Maybe.
But at the same time, you know, if he asked, you know, how are you going to represent me on camera? I'd be like, only the good, baby.
Right.
You know? But yeah, it's just weird how things come around full circle.
It does,
you know.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of what I noticed, you know, in him was just kind of like, you know, and I always kept it really professional. Around him, it'd
be hard not to.
Right, exactly. You know, because like when you were out, when you're out there, you're like show ready type thing. It was no matter what it was. I mean, there was nights that I'm called out there, and I'm just DJing by myself in the MPG music room, and like, what's going on? You know, and he just never really asked like, okay, what's going on tonight or whatever. Oh, just do your thing, okay? Or well, then you might see Prince walk in with a couple people. Are they music execs? What are they?
You never know.
And then they're just chilling out, having like dinner at his Alice in Wonderland table that he had there. So, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and then, you know, his assistant comes. Hey, thanks for coming. You can go now. And you're like, okay, that is interesting. You know,
guess that was the ambient DJ,
right? Yeah. You know? So I'm like, oh, and I think that one of the things that he liked was that I'm like down the road, right? Yeah, 7 minutes away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One of the things that first night I was out there, that I walk in, is they open the door, and then he happened to be kind of like on stage, and someone goes, "Hey, the DJ's here already." You know, I'm like, I want to be like there. So I was there early, and he goes,
"Why not?"
He's like, "Oh, we got an early DJ." So I'm like, oh, okay. So I think he appreciated that.
You showed up with the vinyl. You showed up early. That's awesome.
Because there was like, you know, like if we have you do this, you know, please be on time. Please be, you know, for this, and you know, don't. Hopefully, don't say no type thing. And then that was the whole thing. Like, so my last child that we had she was born October 5th of 2015, and she was scheduled, and after she was scheduled, I got a text like, hey, can you be out later and that was the day of the Leon LaHavis concert. Okay. So I had bought a ticket. I wasn't planning on going because I'm like, well,
we had a ticket just in case.
Yeah. So I look at my wife, I'm like, I just got a text. She's like, I know. She's like, you gotta go. She goes, you can't say no. So I went to Leon LaHavis concert, and then Prince is out there, you know, Third Eye Girl's there. So then he was inviting Leon back after her concert to Paisley Park. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, well, okay. Like I told my buddy, because my buddy went with me too. And like, hey, at a certain point, I have to leave, you know, because I need to go out to Paisley Park. I was leaving exactly at the same time Prince was leaving, but the security guard wouldn't let me leave. He's like, no, you can't leave. Yeah, you gotta stay here. You know, I'm like, dude, I know why, because I have to go out and DJ for him. I know he's leaving, but can you let me go? But he couldn't let me go, but it was funny because they walked right past me, and I'm like, "Hey, P," I said, "I'll see you in like 20 minutes." And he's like, and then Third Eye Girl too. Yeah, we'll see ya. So I'm like, see,
I told you,
I am DJing out there. So then I'm following him out to Chanhassen. We get out there, and then we wait for Leon to get out there, and so we kind of talk about some of those moments that were just kind of like off the cuff type things. Mm-hmm. So like my other daughter, Soraya, when she was younger, she really liked We Came to Shut This Down. Yeah. So I did a video And she's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. We came to shut this down. And then I tweeted it out, and then he retweeted it and said I told him we needed a different hook. So then one night, so we're out there.
Oh my God.
And I'm waiting. I'm in the music room. Prince walks in. He's like, where you set up at? I'm like, well, I think I'm over here. He's like, no, we need you over here. And so this is funny because everyone's like, what? Yeah. So I'm helping Prince move a table. We're moving furniture. It's just for this party. So we're,
Prince is moving furniture?
Yeah. So I'm helping him. So a table like this, my DJ table. He's like, yeah, let's move it over here. So, okay, well, this is perfect. It's like, hey, Prince, did you like
company?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm like, hey, did you like my daughter's remix? So we came to shut this down. He's like, oh, he starts like, oh, we came to shut this down, blah, 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 blah. We started laughing. That was cool.
That's just how I picture
those
him,
were
too.
kind of those things. Like, okay, this is a little moment.
He's a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And then that night we're waiting for Leon to come out there after her show, and then Hannah, I could kind of tell she was a little baby crazy at that point. And I was telling her, I'm like, yeah, like wife and I, we just gave birth to our baby girl this morning. She's like, oh my God, why? She's all going crazy. And I said, yeah. I said, my wife, she even requested to have Prince's album. So basically,
your wife's always been a big Prince fan too?
She not as big as me though. But
yeah.
she
We're a different breed.
She knows the mainstream.
Yeah. That's good though. Hey, better than nothing.
Exactly.
Better than pulling off Thriller.
But she wanted Hit and Run Phase 2 played. So we played Hit and Run Phase 2. Okay. So yeah, so she knows some of those.
It's better than playing, This Could Be Us.
Yeah. Right.
You trying to tell me something?
Yeah, right. No. But actually the funny thing was, it was the song that was playing was X's Face.
Okay.
When my daughter was born.
Oh.
So I had video basically of the nurses, they're dancing and stuff, and all of a sudden there she is, she's born and
That's
stuff.
Awesome.
So I was showing Hannah, I'm like, we even had, the Hit and Run Phase 2. She's like, get out of here. So I'm showing her, right? She's like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Then he walks in. She's like, Prince, you never guess. His wife just had a baby. Him and his wife just had a baby. They played Hit and Run Phase 2. She's like, you got to check it out. So he's like, and he goes like, really? Like, really? And then he's like looking at it. He's like, cool. Congratulations.
Wow. That's awesome.
So he's watching it. He's like, okay. Yeah. I was like, congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wow.
So, there was those moments, that you'll never forget, that you had with them, and
the personable moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess the real personable moment was the last time that I DJ'd for when he was there was
it that party like 3 nights before he passed?
No, that was Pam the Functress was at that one.
Okay.
This was when he decided to do piano on a microphone at Paisley Park.
Oh, I wish I wasn't at that one. Yeah, I wish I was though.
And then it was the third night when it was just a dance party.
Gotcha.
So then I was out there. So he asked, when I walked in through the MPG music room, and they're like, oh, you can't go on the big sound stage yet. He's kind of rehearsing.
Mm-hmm.
So and then they're like, so this is what he's going to do at some point of the night. He's going to do his own DJ set. So, well, okay, cool. So I could hear him, doing it.
But he can mix too? Scratch?
Yeah. Well, he had his, basically what he was using, he had all his, soundboard stuff. Basically, he would just, push a button.
There were samples.
Play a loop,
like
sample, slip, sample, sample. So, well, but hey, he's got all the samples, right?
Better than nothing.
Exactly. So, because I think he had that, he had that all programmed within his keyboards. too.
Oh, okay.
On one of his keyboards, I remember.
That's where he really shone.
Yeah.
Shined.
Yeah, exactly.
On the keyboard.
Yeah. So he was done. They're like, okay, you can go in. So he was standing in the back by the soundboard. So and usually that's where I'll set up. So I'm walking over there with my turntables, and he goes, you're up there. He's like, you're the star tonight. I'm like, I'm up there?
So on the main
I'm
stage?
On main stage? He's like, yep. So I'm like, okay. So I'm going to sit up on the main stage.
Wow.
And
how were the nerves during that one?
Oh my God, that was.
Or more excited? Because you had already been DJing for a while at this point.
Yeah, but it was weird in the aspect of I couldn't. It was so loud, like because all the music was going on. I didn't have a side monitor.
You didn't have any monitor.
Yeah,
no in-ear monitors. Yeah.
Right. So it was a little weird in that whole aspect of things. But yeah, it was still fun.
Awesome.
But because that was kind of like the international dance party. So he had, people from all over the world.
Well, you can say you played the main stage at Paisley.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly.
That is awesome.
So then there was that point. Then that evening, where he comes out and you could tell because it's louder than when I'm playing.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
He's going into his thing, and then he was looping. He was doing the loop. Shut this down, and so I kind of got off the side of the stage. So I'm like, I don't want to be standing up here, And then the whole crowd just went from being over by me, just all the way back by the soundboard. So I'm like, okay. So he's doing his thing and.
Look at him mix.
Yeah,
Look at him adjust the mic volume.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, all right, well, let's do this thing. And then all of a sudden I hear, hey, DJ. What?
Yes, boss.
Inside of your room looks a little empty over there. It looks a little empty back there. I'm like, okay, well, like, what does that mean, And then he's doing his thing a little bit more, and he's like, hey, DJ. You got anything over there back there? I'm like, what?
Let me guess. You put Housequake.
No, because he played it. So but I'm like, shit, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, okay. So I queued up La Grind, the loop on La Grind, because that's one of my favorite loops. So now I'm like, okay. I'm scrambling. I'm like, geez, like, okay. So I'm scrambling. So he's like, DJ, you got something over there? And I'm like, yeah. So he's like, all right, well, let's see what you got. So he turns me up, and I'm looping on the grind. And so then he's kind of going back to the crowd. Oh, what do you think? You think? They're like, yeah. He's like, nope. And then he puts me on mute,
He's just messing with you.
Yeah, right.
I feel like this is his humor.
Yeah. And he goes like, find something else. And so he starts doing his thing again. And he's like, DJ, got anything back there? I'm like, yeah. So then I queued up Cool.
Yep.
So I got Cool queued up. I'm like, so he brings me back, and then he's like, what do you think? And everyone's like, ah. Nope. And he bring me down. And there's video of it because he did like a little like mini live cast of it.
Okay.
But there's video of it, of him turning around, because Kirk was in the back area, and he's like talking to Kirk, and you can see he's laughing. Like, I'm like, he was doing this on purpose, like.
And when you were telling me that, I knew it.
I know, but my whole thing was like, oh my God. At first
I keep messing up.
At first I want to think, God, what did they ask? Like, you just put me on the spot. He never told me. Like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
I could have maybe had some other ones, So we were going back and forth on some other things after a while, and then that was it. And he left. Oh, he left playing the loop of Days of Wild. Well, he forgot to turn. But he forgot to turn me back up. So I'm like, so it just kept looping.
Funny.
And then someone had to go and do it. I'm like,
funny.
Hey, you gotta turn me up.
I'm over here on the main stage.
Yeah. So then I went back in my set for like another hour or so, and then it was over. But then after that, he comes and he's got his bike, you know, and he would go out with his bicycle in the parking lot.
Yep.
And he would, you know,
sometimes Lake Ann too, right?
Lake Ann, yeah,
over there, yeah.
So he was freaking people out that were leaving and stuff, and then I'm putting my stuff away, and he comes back in, and he gets off his bike, and he walks up on stage, and he comes over, and he's like, "Thanks for coming out tonight." And I'm like, "Hey," I said, "anytime," you know. I'm like, "But dude," I'm like, "You literally got me with this whole like DJ battle tonight." He goes, "I know." Again, like the whole, I know. And
I
then,
feel like he walks away and laughs to himself, like about it, like and that's why Prince cannot be read and he cannot be played.
Yeah, but you know, again, I'm just like, that ended with him and I shaking hands. Thanks for coming out. I'm like, hey, anytime, man. You know, and
that was the last party you played.
Yeah,
for him?
That was it. Yeah, I was going to play that last party that he had, but then he decided he wanted to invite Pam out because she was the one that was opening for the piano microphone for him. So Pam and I actually, you know, we kind of, you know, had a good, you know, going back and forth. We kind of connected, and
probably fed ideas off of each other too.
Because I was like, you know, I was reading up on her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's done this and this. I'm like, I want to meet her type thing.
Yeah.
So, because I wasn't really planning on going to that party either, the last party, but I'm like, you know, I want to go out and meet Pam. So I went out there, you know, met her and everything, so we could connect. And so, and like you said, she kind of was asking, you know, getting some tips on what it's like at Paisley Park to DJ and all that stuff. And so she was having a great time. She was just in awe of Paisley Park too, you know, coming from California. But yeah, I mean, again, then that whole night, it was weirdly off. It was nothing that usually like a whole, it didn't have a Paisley vibe.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Which is sad and unfortunate, but I kind of know what you mean. It's like, I've never been in there without that vibe. Well, I mean, I've been there for tours and stuff after he's passed, but I feel like his aura is there more now than it was probably during this time.
Yeah.
You know? And
I remember, like, before I left, he walked by, and then I just said, hey, man, I said, you know, thinking of you, get well. Think, you know, because whatever he was going through, and he was like, you know, he kind of gave me the head nod, thank you, you know, and then walked and went down to the studio hall, and that was it. So, but yeah, crazy.
It is crazy, you know, and it's just like, and that's not even the stuff we want to focus on, you know.
No.
And I hate how a lot of people do, and there's so many stupid conspiracies and all sorts of crap, and it's just like, that's not what he would have wanted, and we just need to celebrate him and love everything he left us.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
Memories, everything. I mean,
he put it all out for us,
and he gave you a chance.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, I still,
like, best musician in the world believed in you and gave you a chance.
That whole part, I still can't get over. Or
does it feel like a dream? Like it almost never happened.
It's like, how am I worthy of that? Or
why me?
To be exactly,
kinda,
you know, because then it's like, I'm still called out to Paisley Park to do
that's another thing. So you still have a pretty good connection with Paisley Park, estates, or I don't even want to get into whoever runs it. Who knows?
Whoever's running it. I mean, they call me, and you know, I'm like, and it was obviously very, very weird going out there the first time after
I bet
he was gone.
Just felt empty.
Very, very empty. And I felt like, why should I be out here anymore in a way? Like, you know. But it really woke me up to the people that weren't able to ever be out there, that came from all the world.
And the legacy that's just continued.
Right.
You know.
And they just wanted that experience of a dance party, or, I mean, it wasn't going to be the same, you know, anything like that. But And then just the certain songs that you'd play that would be like, oh my God, like, thanks for playing that song.
Yes.
Type thing.
Yes. And he did want it to be a museum after he passed one day.
Yep, he did.
I mean, you can easily tell when you're walking down the hallway and you see the Grammys built into the wall.
Yeah.
It's just like he knew. He was, I don't know if it was a prophet or what, but he knew ahead of time how he wanted it to be.
Oh, yeah.
That painting with the artist that inspired him and the ones he created. Epic.
Yeah, and totally, that was like his overall plan for that summer was he wanted the fans to run it, and they were the ones that were going to do the touring, and so he had certain people picked out for that of how he wanted it to go, and I kind of like that whole thing again was weird about how he was always forward thinking and not very reflective, but yet. At that point, he was starting to reflect on things. That's
in the afro going back.
Yeah.
That's why I think it was almost some weird premonition, like maybe my time's coming up.
Yeah.
And it all ties in together with that. I don't know how to explain it. But,
I know.
The feelings that are associated with it is just kind of ominous or eerie when you think back to it,
Yeah.
But, it was just weird.
Right. Yeah.
He knew something we didn't know. I don't know.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
But
like you said, it's still crazy, to think.
It still doesn't seem real to me.
No.
Every day I drive by it to and from work, Paisley Park, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the only difference now is there's a bunch of cars out there every day.
Right.
And then they have the big symbol out there.
Yeah.
Which I think he would have liked.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't do it in a tacky way.
No, with
the purple lights that already reflect on the building.
Yeah.
I think he maybe would have liked it,
Yeah.
Some of the things I don't think he would have liked, whether it would be, I love you, Prince, and I love Paisley Park, but I don't think anything in the vault should be released because if he didn't think it was good enough, then I don't cool. As a fan, I'd love to hear it. But he was an artist, and if he didn't think it was good enough to release, maybe I shouldn't even be listening to it. Just for respect for him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's people that I know have that opinion. Yeah.
But then again, at the same time,
I'm like, I want to hear what was that like.
That Ray Charles album in there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm waiting for that.
Exactly. I think, I kind of take those songs and I look at it as more, I mean, they probably weren't finished work.
Mm-hmm. Or he was just saving them for a later time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which he did a lot.
But I think I just kind of, when I listen to those songs, I just kind of listen to it in a way of, oh, this is what he was thinking at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What could have been, or how he would have taken that with, with some other songs that he eventually released. And, so to me, they're kind of like, they're all demos, but it's a cool way to see that creative process from the beginning. So I
like that Feel For You demo.
Yeah,
that acoustic
exactly,
one.
right?
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like just amazing kind of stuff. And like you said, maybe it wasn't because he didn't think it was good enough. He just wanted to release it at a later time.
Yeah.
He's got his reasons, so.
Yeah. And, he alluded, someone's going to release it. I don't know who's going to do it, but someone will.
He wasn't banking all that stuff in the vault for no reason at the same time.
Yeah, right. But then I think at the same time, though, like, in a way, like, if he was still around, I heard, like, he forgot the combo to the vault, so actually more of the stuff was getting put in the room before the vault.
That's funny.
So,
he probably forgot even what he had in the vault at that point.
I know, right?
That is funny.
Yeah, or I've heard stories too that that some of it was starting to fade out a little bit. Yeah. So like now it's been preserved or whatnot, but who knows?
Yeah. So here's a question for you. You've been around most every area in Paisley Park, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a giant parking garage that goes underneath Highway 5? It like
Under
almost
highway.
extends, like it's...
Well, pretty much. I mean, so that whole, like...
That curve around the back.
That curve around the back.
Yep.
So that's there. That is a huge underground.
And that's where he kept his vehicles.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. So in 2000, and I think that was the Rainbow Children album.
Yep.
You could take a tour. They had tours available, so you actually got to go down to the vault to see the vault. So
really?
yeah, so you went down the elevator to the lower level.
Mm-hmm.
So once you got out of the elevator, you turned to your left. Then he had like his guitar room,
Like the guitar tech
guitar tech room.
Yep.
And then next to it was the vault. So then he had this room the room before the vault, he kept like where you're showing like all the pillows and stuff like. So he kept a lot of like the fan memorabilia or whatever.
That's cool. He kept
certain
that
awards in there, and then there was the vault. So we got to see that, and then we got to see the parking lot.
Yeah.
And then
wow.
you saw all the cars. They were
I've
all
seen
just parked there.
pictures.
Yeah.
I've only seen pictures of the underground, and I'm just like, who posted these? And how'd you even get down there? And,
so that was so that was the one and only time that I ever got to go down to that area.
Wow.
Yeah.
Had you ever made it up to his living quarters in his?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah.
And they'll never show that off. I don't think.
No, I don't.
Although I hope it's still untouched.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
Just for his sake.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I don't think that'll ever be shown. I'd kind of hope, maybe that they would open up more like the conference room areas or something like that. But
yeah, because
who knows?
Right now what they seem to do is all the same areas are open. I've never done the VIP tours, but the general tours I've done, and then the Black Album deal that they had.
Yeah.
It always seems like the same rooms and areas are open, but they move around the merch and stuff and displays.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it would be cool to see his shoe room or go upstairs and see where they made his actual wardrobe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a hair salon somewhere in there.
There is. Yes.
And like that's the kind of cool stuff. But
oh yeah, you were out for the Black Album event. That's where I saw it the last time because I DJ'd that one.
I got a little larried up. I was surprised they served alcohol there. I was like, this would not be happening if P was alive.
Oh no, yeah,
no.
Yeah, that was a fun vibe that night.
That was.
It had a really good. It was.
And I'd never seen CD, cassette, and vinyl
right
at the same time, and I was like, oh my god.
I know. I didn't know they actually had an original copy.
Well, here's the weird thing. So when we were out in the atrium area, when we were doing the pre-walk around tour, and they had all this stuff on the walls, and I'm like, so where's the Black Album? And this lady in there, she's like, oh yeah, we don't have it right now. But then she said something like, wait a little bit later, we're gonna have a surprise. And that was a surprise. And I was like, oh my God. And that album was so underrated.
Right?
Funk Bible, baby.
Yes, exactly.
But
so I didn't know that he had an original, because sometimes sometimes I'm like, did he have all his music available or is it just just all on his computer?
One.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was out a week before he pulled it or something like that.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I was wondering, so with your company to the Max, do you have any exciting events coming up this month or this summer? Excuse me.
This summer, basically, just weddings.
Gotcha.
Yeah, usually, weddings going on. I might have a couple things coming up in June, beginning of June for the Prince celebrations and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's to be coming up here. So yeah.
So were you spinning for the Black Album party? You weren't spinning the actual vinyl, or were those like digital tracks you were playing?
There were digital tracks.
Hey. The Black Album is worth more than gold.
Yeah,
baby.
I know. Yeah, I don't think there's any way they would have allowed me to touch that. Oh my gosh, right? Yeah.
Oh man.
So, but we made it kind of that cool effect, and I think you saw that because basically we made it to like we're gonna play it from the cassette.
Yep.
So I'm probably giving away the secrets here, but when he pushed play, I mean it wasn't plugged in.
Yeah.
And then I played the digital files.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And because my producer.
I'm sorry.
My producer coming from the Hollywood world, he was explaining to me everything as. They walk through that video. He's like, yeah, this and that. He was explaining it. And he's like, it's an old trick, but it's effective.
It was, yeah.
It's effective.
I thought it was really cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for that album because it's so ominous.
Yeah.
and like you couldn't have done that for like a Purple Rain party.
Right.
You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah.
But it worked out so good for that.
Yeah.
You know? It was all quiet and everything.
Right.
What's going on? You know? And it was like, came out with it. Jesus Christ, there it is. It's in person. Oh my God. So it was amazing.
Because again, like, even if that was my album, I don't think I would be comfortable playing it. But I did tell him, like, hey, if we do these down the road, I have the vinyls, so let's just play them straight from the vinyl, right off the turntable. We can do that. So I'm good.
Yeah.
Around the world in a day, we could. That's coming up. So
I don't know why they just didn't have a party for that.
Yeah, I
they
think
just played. Did you see that Goofy movie thing they had a couple months ago?
Yes.
I was looking at events and I was like,
oh,
Goofy movie.
Yeah, that cool story about that, because I did a wedding.
Yeah.
In last year, that was their first song by Rosie Gaines and Tevin Campbell.
Yep.
That was their first song for their wedding, and I was like,
interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't.
That's kind of rare for like what?
Yeah, I know, right? So that blew me. Like, I'm like, oh, you like, and then when they had that, I sent it to them. I'm like, I'm thinking of you guys. Like, look at this. You guys should come up and go to Paisley Park. So they'll be playing your song.
Dude, that's awesome.
So I guess it was like,
there is a Prince connection. That's why they did play the Goofy movie there.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So I'm like, that was crazy.
Man, I don't know who I need to talk to or who you need to talk to, but they should have like a month, like once a month party there.
Yes, I think that is a plan.
Okay. Because I know they did the Black album. That was like an anniversary kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should have like maybe 1, maybe 2 nights, like a month. I would look forward to that. Like, every month, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like when they first opened as a museum, that's kind of what we were doing at that point, kind of doing the Paisley Park After Dark. So then I'd be out there.
The After Dark series.
Or, we have another DJ out there. But yeah, they were kind of to going with that vibe. I think it'd be a lot better now because, at that point you had to go and do the whole like full tour thing. I like the whole concept that they are doing, kind of like the self-walking tour now, because
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Because I get why they need to include the tour, because it is now a museum, but now it's like, well, you don't have to go, like if you went already, well, I don't want to go and sit through a whole nother like tour of somebody telling me all this stuff. Yeah. Now you can just kind of walk it
as you want, where you want, on your own pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool too. I like, I just like the vibes on the parties, which I think they should do more of is, like I said, once monthly or something, where you enter through the nightclub.
Yeah.
Just disregard the tour.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like that party was a good deal for like the entry. I mean, you did the tour and then you got the Black Album party. That was a great. I would have paid that alone just to go to the party without the tour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If anything, have those parties. Don't include the tour. People are going to want to come back and do the tour.
Oh, yeah.
And pay, whatever. But yeah, man. I think that might be a good point to stop the podcast for today,
we could be here all night.
We could be here all night. I feel like we covered a lot.
maybe we'll have a part 2 somewhere.
I think we probably will have a part 2. I don't think there's a maybe. I think there's just a when.
Right.
But
so many stories.
Yeah. Everybody, DJ Michael Holtz, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
ToTheMax.com for all your DJ needs, everybody. Thank you much.
Peace.
Peace out. And be wild. I think that was a good one, man.
Oh, good. Yeah.
We definitely
got a lot.